Hi, I'm Dr. Renae Thomas and I am an Australian living in the United States and a triple board certified physician in family medicine, general preventive medicine and public health, and lifestyle medicine. And welcome back to my channel. Today I have an honorable guest, the man, the legend, my dad. My dad is a retired elementary or primary school teacher. He currently lives in southwestern Australia on a 70 acre property where he's completely chemical free and he farms most of his own fruits and vegetables and also additional ones. And at the moment you have a garlic crop.
That's my biggest crop.
Garlic crop is your biggest one at the moment. What else do you have growing?
Oh, lots of vegetables and lots of fruit. Probably 15 different fruits and 20 different vegetables.
Wonderful. And so Dad has joined me today because today, as you would have seen from the title, we are trying out SOS or salt, oil and sugar-free seasonings. And for those that don't know, I'm actually allergic to onion and garlic. So I had to recruit a mouth that could try many of those flavorings for me. So that's what we're going to be doing today. As with all of my YouTube videos, this is for informational and educational purposes only and cannot constitute or replace any medical advice. So with that all out of the way, let's get into the video. So today we're going to be trying a lot of different salt, oil and sugar or SOS-free seasonings and sauces. And the reason that we're doing that is a lot of patients that I work with that are hoping for some nutritional medicine intervention, things like high blood pressure, autoimmune diseases and some other conditions that I commonly treat. We are looking towards excluding salt, oil and sugar from the diet. And I am going to put out another video on why we do that and what's kind of the benefits and the importance. But for this video, we're just including those. So when people say to me, okay, but if I cut out all of those, how is food going to taste any good? We're going to give some examples of those today. Everything will be linked in the description box, and I also have a blog post coming out soon that will go into more and more detail about some of those options, kind of a master guide, if you will. So the first one we're going to start out with is nutritional yeast, and I usually recommend getting the non-fortified ones. I like to use, if we're going to have supplements or nutritional supplements, to make sure that they're appropriate for the individual person and not just blindly added into food. And it also varies on the type of supplement that sometimes is added to the food, may not be the specific one I recommend. So we're going to go with the unfortified version. It has been already opened because I include this in my personal diet, and this one is free of onion and garlic, so it is something that I do include. And this is a single ingredient. This one is just yeast. You have all the information on the back of the packet. Have you had nutritional yeast before?
No,
do you include it? Have I ever made you anything? So
maybe.
I have a little spoon. So this is a lot of people use this as a kind of cheesy like flavor. Mm-hmm. So I know you probably haven't had cheese in I don't even know how many years.
Long time.
What do you reckon? 30? What were we talking about the other day? Maybe 30 years?
At least 20 years.
At least 20 years. So this is a little dry, so I'm only going to give you a little bit so you don't choke, but have a smell. What do you think?
Interesting.
You can see. I don't know. For me, I don't even know what cheese really tastes like, but I know when I smell people's cheese, it kind of has that sharpish smell that I think this has a little bit too. So I'm going to go ahead and give you just a little bit. Don't spill it on my carpet. Did you just pour it back in the bucket from your mouth? Right. So what do you think?
It's not that strong a taste. It's quite pleasant.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good additive to some dishes.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it tastes like cheese? Or has it been so long to remember what cheese tastes like?
What I remember of cheese, it's not strongly like cheese. It's in the area, but yeah, it's all right.
It's all right. What do you think it would go well with?
Pasta, maybe.
Some pasta, like sprinkled on top, like a parmesan?
Yeah, maybe. Pasta. Yeah. Because it's not so strong, I think it goes with a lot of things.
Yeah. What I tend to do personally is I make up a big salad and I like to sprinkle some of that in and mix it with balsamic vinegar.
Oh, that makes sense.
I really like that. I think that's tasty for salads. But yeah, all right. Awesome.
Quite nice.
Let's go on to number 2. So the next one is going to be along similar lines of the nutritional yeast. So a sprinkle, kind of adding that salt. This one is usually used to add kind of a salty like taste. So have you had much seaweed before? Do you use seaweed?
I used to, not so much now. I used to put it in my soups.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Obviously we have sushi sometimes, so that has seaweed around it too. Have you ever had smaller seaweed like this? So this is Wakame.
No, I've only ever had
a couple of different
those
ones.
sheets of it.
Okay, this is my favorite type of seaweed personally. So it is very crunchy and you can either do it exactly like you said, you can put it into hot foods when it's cooking or soups or something like that and then it'll soften out. But I really like it in my salad because I feel like it adds a really crunchy texture. So you can go ahead and grab a couple.
Without spitting in the container.
Yeah, be perfect. So that's what it looks like when it's out of the packet.
Yep, cool.
And also what you can do, sometimes I grind this up.
Oh, yeah.
Because Dulse Flakes is another one, and they're very fine. Dulse Flakes looks like fish food to me, but people sprinkle that on, but I prefer this flavor. So sometimes I'll grind it up in the blender to have a much more fine sprinkle. So
yep.
Let us know what you think.
I got into it because Des said it was a really good dog supplement. Lots of vitamins and things.
So it was good for your dog, so you started taking it?
I used to buy several bags at a time, then I'd just pinch a sheet and chuck it in with my soup.
Was it human grade?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I don't think there's a dog grade. Anyway, do you want to film?
Yeah, we're still going.
Okay, down the hatch.
Do you know what ASMR is? Have you heard people say that before? It's like a certain type of YouTube video where people like the crunchy sound of people eating. So you're giving us some ASMR.
That is a bit salty tasting. I don't know if it has salt in it.
So seaweeds do have some sodium, obviously because they're in the sea.
Ocean.
So they're not a no salt option, but they're much, much better than adding, sea salt and things like that to your actual food. But I find this one you definitely want to add just a little bit because it's quite salty. What do you think?
It's very nice, but as I said, it's quite salty because I haven't had much salt for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm a bit sensitive to it. It's nice and I love it, and it's a strong seaweed taste. Like some of the seaweeds I've had are a lot milder.
Yeah.
So yeah, I reckon it's very nice. I think people would like that.
I've seen people use seaweeds for if they're trying to make like a mock tuna or like a mock salmon dip or something. They'll blend up chickpeas and put in some seaweed to get that kind of sea kind of flavour.
A good kick, wouldn't it? No, that's nice.
So, do you add any salt to your food?
No, don't
None
add
at
any.
all. None at all.
And I try very hard to look at ingredients. Yeah, occasionally I'll have potato chips and I can barely eat them. They're just so salty.
Yeah.
See, over the years, manufacturers, I believe, have added a lot more salt to their foods.
Do you think?
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean,
Either
I know that.
I'm more sensitive.
It's probably a bit of both, but it can be mind-blowing how much salt and sodium is in foods. And one of the ones I always share with people, not that I recommend eating processed cereals, but something like cornflakes, they have more salt in them, more sodium, than a packet of potato chips.
Unbelievable.
But you can't taste it because it's processed into the grain and there's so much sugar masking the flavour that people don't realise how much salt is in there. But it's the same reason why you just want to keep eating and eating and eating. That's kind of that trick, and that's why so much of our food is salty. It really does encourage overconsumption. So cutting out salt has many medical benefits, but it also helps a lot of people with their weight because the food isn't so kind of moreish because the salt is kind of drawing them to eat more.
Well, I know just recently with you, when I tasted some soy sauce, I always used the lowest salt soy sauce, and it was really salty.
Yeah, it really is.
I wasn't used to it.
Yeah, it's always crazy to us because we just don't add salt or sodium. We have very low sodium diet, and just trying something that isn't considered. I mean, soy sauce is high in salt, but I found even just going to a restaurant or something and getting something that I think is a low salt meal, and it's so salty. So
you can taste it, no doubt about it.
So I actually have a similar one to try, and this one I'm probably going to have to Google how to pronounce it. So let's just check in with our friend Mr. Internet.
Salicornia.
Oh, Salicornia.
Salicornia. That's not too bad. So this one I just got very recently. I saw it on Chef AJ, and they had the person that had made it come. So this adds a salty and umami flavor that is exceptional with vegetables. Again, it's a single ingredient. This one, it says you can use twice the volume and consume 50% less sodium than salt. So again, it's not necessarily sodium free, but it's salt free. So salt being sodium chloride, and then sodium is still in a lot of our natural food. So a lot of people don't realize, even if we just eat fruits and vegetables and whole grains and legumes and all the things we recommend with no added salt, we still get our essential sodium from our food because all foods contain sodium because humans need it. So this one has a little sprinkle cap. Ooh. So I'm just going to sprinkle it in for you, and you can just stick your finger. So it's actually, you should put your hand up to the camera. So it's actually green. There you go. All right. Let us know what you think. What's the taste like?
Sort of has a definitely a reasonably strong salt, but it's also got background herb into it.
Oh yeah?
There's a bit of background herb. I don't know what it is, but very nice. And if AJ recommended it, it's bound to be good.
What would you use that one on?
Probably, in my case, I'd like to put that through my vegetables as an alternative to soy sauce. It's not that far away from soy sauce in taste. It's very, very nice.
I feel like that would go really nicely on top of grains. So like brown rice with a sprinkle on top. Like I really like the Japanese seasonings where they have sesame seeds and seaweed, and they do often have salt in them. So I make my own using similar things like that. But I think that would be really good just to sprinkle on a bowl of rice or something like that.
The other thing about that, it has a lingering taste. Some things when they linger are not so nice, but that lingers and just goes away nicely. That's very nice.
For me, I almost thought that had a little bit of like a matcha green tea taste.
Could be.
But I don't know if that's just because it's a green powder and my mind's tricking me to think that. But for me, that's what I kind of got from it.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a stronger taste than green tea. But it's very nice. I like that one. Might have to go and buy some to take home.
I can give you some. I've got a bag.